Hey everybody, so I'm back with making a video, but this is going to be me kind of talking through about what makeup brushes I use. So I am going to talk about what would be best to apply eyeshadow, even foundation, concealer, whatever. I'm going to just do a real quick foundation one. Don't mind my dirtiness of my brushes, but here are two brushes that I use for foundation. This one is more of a airbrush feel, so I kind of just circle motions. I have makeup on, so I use this brush today. Other product that I use, other of my foundations that I use, so it would be circular motions, but it's more of a flat top. And I use this one. This brush I've had for a while, but this is a crown brush, which is really amazing. I haven't actually bought in a long time crown brushes, but this is a crown brush. And then this is a Real Technique brush. So I love this little handle of it. You get a grip of it and composed to like using a brush. So they're two different ones. I know a lot of people do like to use beauty blenders. I use my beauty blenders for my concealer. So once I put my concealer on, I can even dab it in or dab it in. So I dab it in this way, and then once I get to the areas that get a little bit harder, then I start using the pointy. Or you can use it as a foundation, as you would use something like this. This would be your brush, but it's your beauty blender, right? So those are quick ones. I also use my powder brush when I'm setting my concealer. I use it with my setting spray, my setting powder, sorry. Also, so I just pulled out a few of the brushes that at least most of us should have, right? Going in, depends on my look, depends on my mood. I use to apply, usually once I set my primer, I will start using a blending brush. I have 3 different blending brushes. They all look the same, but they all have different type of techniques, right? So I would most likely use this one first, and this is a Sigma E35. So it's a tampered blending brush. This is something that I would start bringing it in to the crease and then going like that. Or I would start off with my MAC 217 brush. Sorry, my MAC 224 brush. And this is a blending taper brush as well. I've had this guy forever. So this is one of my favorites. Same thing, you would just kind of go over with right here and start blending it in. So basically like a transition color would be the blending brushes for these guys. Also, I have a Morphe 514 brush, which is very similar to the Sigma brush. Almost identical, but a little bit smaller taper brush than this one. This will have more product to bring it in, and this one probably just be a little tad less, right? And I also have a Morphe 505 brush that I use a lot. So these, the MAC brush would probably, the MAC and the Sigma brush would probably be one of the most expensive brushes compared to the Morphe brushes. The Morphe brushes are under $20, $10. These guys will catch you maybe $20 to $30. Can't remember exactly. But these are the blending brushes that I do use. So we have Morphe, Sigma, and MAC. These are the brushes that I use. You can use whatever you want, but as long as it's a blending taper brush, this is something that I would use. Now, once I get the color in my crease that I wanted, I would go in with my MAC 217 brush. It is so faded, but this guy has been with me forever too. So this is something that I would apply to go in seconds to my whatever color I was using on my blending brush. So just kind of go like this, you know, bring it in, bring it out. This is a MAC 217 brush. Another thing is it's not a flat brush, but it has a little bit of a feather to it. Like, look at that. Also, a smaller blending brush that I do use is a Morphe 506 brush when I want to get in the crease. That's a smaller compared to something like this, right? I also recommend it if you have smaller eyes. It would probably be very good to put on instead of like this big thing would just put so much shadow. So just kind of what I do with this brush though, I usually hit it right here at my outer corner. And if I wanted to get into my inner corner to make like a two color like type of eyeshadow, but I would put those two colors on the inner and the outer, and then whatever I would put in the middle would be a different kind of brush. But that would definitely be something that I would use, just because it doesn't give so much product, but it's gonna get in the outer here, and then I would just kind of apply it here, and then I would bring it somewhat like that. Also, here is a smudger pencil brush that I would use, same kind of effect of a Morphe 506 brush, like the smaller taper brush here. I would use the pencil brush to kind of get in, mostly to do like a color right in between where my line is, right, or my lid. So I would do something like that. This is with the pencil brush. These are what I use them for. Everybody's different, right? Also, when I'm applying my eyeshadow on the bottom of my eyelid right here, I use either a Morphe or a MAC, and the Morphe is a 432 brush that are flat, or a MAC 212. The MAC one is the newer one I got. And I also use this brush not just for the bottom, whatever right here I would place it. I can also use this as a cut crease right in the middle, so I can put concealer or whatever primer I was using to just kind of get in depth with, since it's so flat, that I can get in the little crevice right here, and I would be able to pull it down and work on my cut crease. Also, I got a concealer brush here, which would be the same thing as a pencil brush, but it has a little bit more of a little width here. So, and this is a Morphe M421 brush. So it would depend on what I'm using them for. I get a little technical, so I'll probably use a concealer brush. I don't use this one as much as I would like. I use it more for my bottom eyelid to put color. Those are the basic brushes that I think a lot of people need in their everyday, which is a blending brush and a smaller blending brush, and also a brush like this. So I would recommend just having something like this too. There's even times where I just use these two and I don't really use anything else, right? So those. Also, I forgot to mention a lid brush, just because when I put like my gold eyeshadow, I use, depends on how much I want. So like something like this, I would use my Jaclyn Hill JH51, just because it has a flatter lid process, so I could just kind of put it in like that if I wanted a lot of more color than I wanted the other color. Or if I wanted to use my little cute brush here, and this is my Morphe M21 or 24, I'm not sure. But this is so little, but I love using it for this part of my eye to bring out that color, to make it pop. You could use it on your lid if you don't want to put so much glitter, shimmer, metallic on it. You would just use something like this. So you could apply, and it won't be as tense, right? But I use this one usually, or I use something very similar, which is anything that has, this one's a lot bigger, but this is something like this. So it all depends on what you're using it for. Fluffy brush, blending brushes. I mean, this is even a bigger one. So when I always make my videos, and I always say, I'm going to go in with a brush that has no product. Usually it's something like this, right? This one has a lot. This is a lot right here, but this is not as much, right? Anything like this, it doesn't have product on it. Then I start blending it in and making them all kind of go in together, right? So we'll just kind of go here, start off and blend, start off in here and blend, you know, just to get them matching, right? That's something that I use them for. When I use blush, I had to go through another brush. I was technically using this Morphe brush, but it started to shed, as you can tell. I've washed it and it's just not the best. And this one was just a Morphe 105 brush. It was a blush brush. So I got this one. I picked it up at Sephora, and it's the brush 96 Pro brush. So it has a lot better quality, to be honest, than the Morphe brush. So it all depends on what you're using them for. I have my fan brush for my highlight. This is one of my favorite brushes. I don't even know if they make them anymore, but I was so happy when I got it because it was the last one. And I know this is Japanese fan highlighting brush. So I use that one. And I got this one that basically kind of does the same thing, but it's a JH09 Jaclyn Hill Morphe brush. I spray it and I start setting my highlight. So we start doing that. So I use those two as highlighters, right? So those are some of the main brushes that I use. Also, you can use a liner, like an eyeliner brush to get in. If you wanted to do a liquid eyeliner, not a liquid eyeliner. I guess it is liquid, but it's like this one I have here is this MAC. This is really dried up, but it's a long wear fluid line, so it's not liquid, but it's very similar. So you would apply that with an angled brush, and then you can kind of carve out your eyeliner. You can, you know, make a wing or not, whatever you would like. I'm trying to think what else. I have a lot of blending brushes, so I would just say I have so many blending brushes. This is just a few of the ones that I have. I stocked up a lot and I got a lot of Morphes. I usually have Sigma and I have MAC, but I got a lot of Morphes too. Those are the brands that I use. Like, again, you can use any type of makeup brush as long as you have some blending brushes, some pencil brushes, some lid brushes, some angled brushes. You know, you want to get in, because to create your work, it all counts on your brushes. So I think that if you really invest and you want to apply your makeup to make it look really flawless and pretty and cute, the best thing to do is just invest in some brushes. It doesn't matter the palettes, it doesn't matter anything else. The brushes are really your main focus, right? And I also say some primer is the best thing to go with, you know. You can use concealer. You don't have to use anything expensive. Got the LA Girl Pro Concealer. You can use this as your eyeshadow primer. I'm falling in love with the P. Louise one. And, you know, started using that. I used that one today. Or I use my MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pod. You know, it all depends on what you want to create, right? You know, you are free. The world is your oyster. The makeup world is your oyster. You create whatever look fits for you. So just having some brushes, some blending brushes, some tapered blending brushes, some, you know, flat top, just invest. You can get anything, Morphe, MAC, Sigma, Real Techniques. You can get some on Amazon, whatever you want to do, as long as you just get some brushes. That's what I think is the best thing. So I think that's all I can kind of talk about. If you have any more questions, you want to know about what brushes or what style brushes I have or what the numbers were, please let me know and I will link them and I will let you know. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you.